Welcome back to Silent Pew. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about two solid options at the range, and that's going to be the 45 ACP as well as the 40 Smith & Wesson. So on today's episode, we're going to be talking about the performance as well as the practicality of either of these rounds. Is it good for the range or is it good for self-defense in 2025? We're going to find out today, both here at the table and down at the range. So to compare both of these calibers today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to use a host gun, and that for the 40 is going to be the HK VP40. And for the 45, we have my very first handgun, and that's the Springfield XD45. All right, to kick us off today, we're gonna start with the Springfield XD45. And as stated, this is actually my very first handgun given to me by my father. So let's go ahead and show clear in this one. And what we have here is a 4-inch barrel, and I believe this is around 7 inches or so in total length. And then we have no optics cut there. And again, this is a full-size 45 handgun. Now, a couple things while we're talking about this and discussing this one here. We've got some rear safety going on back here, okay? And then we also have a safety in the trigger. So this has to be depressed, this middle piece here, before the trigger will even pull. So if we pull this back here, let's see if I could do this. This will not pull without that being depressed. So it's a two-step safety. You have to have both of those things happening for this trigger to actually pull. So if I get my grip back here and I pull that, then we're able to go ahead and pull. Another thing here is if we take a look back there, I don't know if you can see that. We probably can't see it now, but if we rack the slide, you'll be able to see that pin is sticking out. So that's just another safety measure to be able to identify that there is a round in the chamber. And you know, some people like that, some people don't. But what that's gonna do is as you're looking down just from the rear end of the firearm, I can easily see that there's either a round in the chamber or the slide's been racked. And so that's important because I don't have to necessarily press check this to take a look at that. As we take a look around at this, we'll go ahead and take a look at the trigger. This is probably one of the worst triggers that I have in my collection. So what I'm referring to in this one is if we pull this down, this feels really squishy. Like there's a lot of just squish right there is the best way I can explain that before we hit the wall. And then once we hit the wall, okay, I'm pulling this whole time to get that to pull. Let's test our reset. Okay, quite a bit of travel back. And then to get back to the wall, we've got all that squish again before we can pull the trigger. So I would say worst trigger I have in my collection by far. I'll stand by that. I've got quite a few firearms and that one does not go to the top of the rankings. Okay, so moving on, now we've got our VP40. And for our VP40 here, a couple things about this. We'll go ahead and show clear as well. So a few things about this one here is we've got a 4.1-inch barrel, and I believe this is about 7 inches in length as well, very similar to the XD45. But if we'll take a look here at the ergonomics, these ergonomics are much better than that 45. This one feels way better in the hand than the 45, and I do like that. So we are, taking a look and reviewing these guns a little bit before we talk about the calibers. Besides that, again, no optics cut on this, and this has a very similar design in the back there. And if you can see that, there's a little red dot. Let's see if I can get that there. May not be able to see it, but it's very similar to the XD, except it's red, and we can see that only when it's racked, and when it is pulled, that is gone. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the trigger on this one. So here, what I'm feeling is a little click right there before I hit the wall, but after I hit that click, I am at the wall right away, so there's no squish in this one, and then we're pulling the trigger. So that one feels quite a bit more crisp than the XD. Let's check the reset. A little bit of travel, then we're back beyond that click on the reset, and then back to the trigger pull. So this one's decent. Again, the ergonomics feel much better. It does come with some additional straps for the back as well as the sides, so you can kind of customize that a little bit to your personal feel, but that is what we have going on with this one. Another thing to mention about this one is the magazine release is very HK-like. If you know, you know, and it's a paddle down here that releases the magazine, which gives us our 13+1 magazine as well. And one thing that we'll discuss is for a 40 and a 45, you would think that you would get more rounds in the 40 because the 40 caliber is quite a bit smaller than the 45. But in this particular situation, we have 2 magazines with the same exact round count, and that will vary depending on which gun you have, but for this particular situation, that's what we got. All right, let's break this down. So 45's big, slow, and heavy. It's been around for over a century and is known for its stopping power. 40 caliber has been around for less time, and it was meant to be the in-between speed of the 9mm and the power of the 45. You know, this was really designed to be right in between both. And actually growing up, as I think about this, right, I used to actually really love 40. And the reason I love 40 was exactly that. I used to think 9 was too small, and I used to think 45 was too big, and I thought 40 was like the perfect in-between. I've since changed that, but that's how I used to think. So just giving you a little insight to my brain. Why not? All right, so on paper, these perform quite a bit different. But what I wanna do is I wanna get out to the range and I wanna test these both for myself. We're gonna test that VP40 with the 40 Smith & Wesson, and we're gonna test that Springfield XD45 with the 45 ACP. All right, so we're on our way to the range. Make sure you guys smash that like button and make sure you subscribe so you can see more of this content. I'm gonna go ahead and get out there. All right, guys, we're at the range. So we're gonna be taking a look today at 40 and 45. And in particular, we're going to be taking a look at the HK VP40. So this is going to be a 40 Smith & Wesson, as well as the Springfield Armory 45 ACP, and this is the Springfield XD. All right, so we're sitting at about 10 yards right now. We're going to start off with the 40. So we got the VP40, HK VP40 here, 10 yards. We're going to go for the A zone up top, just so we can see where we're sitting at with this one. We're going to be testing a little bit of accuracy here, but of course we're also going to be testing for a feel, which one feels better in the hand. We don't have anything to test any stopping power or anything right now, but you know, we're going to do what it does. All right, so it looks like we dropped some of those shots there, huh? So we got 3 to the bottom left and then 2 up in the A zone there. So we'll keep our eye on those, and then we're gonna come to the 40, and then I'll take you guys down there, take a look at them. Yeah, and I think as we as we look at these, it's definitely a grip thing that's keeping the slide locked. I wanted to test something. Actually, let's go ahead and test it real quick now. So one of our viewers actually commented that what we should do is shoot it with one hand. So let's do that. Yeah, because my thumb is definitely up there. So we're gonna go one hand here. Let's try it one more time. Thumb might have been still up there a bit. So one round. Let's keep the thumb off the slide lock. Let's keep it low. Yeah, so I think it's the thumb. So basically, I know you guys can't see this here, but when I've got the grip there, we've got the thumb up high, and I think that's causing it to not lock back. So let's take a look here. So we took a couple shots down low earlier, but we were focused up here. And so these three down here were the 40, and then we had two that were also the 40. Then these three were the 45, and then I think we missed altogether with the other two. So 5 rounds in each, that's what we came out with. It looks like we dropped a couple of those 40s down low. All right, so far what I'm feeling is the 40 is definitely, I would say, doesn't kick as hard. I think this is actually a really good between 9 and 45. But for this being 45, I would say that this actually feels really good. This doesn't feel too much off of the 40. So, I mean, I think in general, the ergonomics of the firearms themselves feel different, and I definitely prefer this one over the Springfield. But in terms of shooting them, I don't think that this one feels like it's overpowered or, you know, much more powerful than the 40 in hand. All right, we also got my guy AK out here. He's gonna throw a couple rounds down range with the 45.
I like the XD.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's not snappy. It's not
No.
snappy. They both feel like a 40. Yeah, this one, I mean, obviously it's 45, but I like them both. Very smooth.
We have 20 yards, so we came back to 20 yards here. We'll probably get back to 25 here in a second, but for now, we're gonna go with the 20-yard mark. And first off, let's go ahead and get some rounds here in the 40. So we're gonna take a couple shots with the 40 and then the 45, and then AK brought the 9 here, so we're gonna take a look at the 9 just to compare it while we're here and see how we're feeling with everything. So let's go ahead and let's start up and work our way down. So we'll go 45 first. I've got a spotter over here to my right. You guys can't see him, but he's gonna tell me if I'm hitting or not. So that's our 45. Moving down to the 40. And then moving down to the 9. So for our 9 here, we're shooting a Canic TP9 threaded barrel. Honestly, they all feel really similar. What it's gonna come down to is gonna be how you control or how you manage the recoil. I think that the 45 is definitely got some power to it, and you can feel that. And then the 40 feels really nice. And then of course the 9, I shoot a lot of 9, so I think that that one just feels real comfortable for me overall. And this one in particular felt a little bit more snappy than you know what I would consider what I'm used to. And it is hot today. We are gonna take the 45 and then we're gonna take the 40. We're gonna take a couple steps. Actually, we're just gonna walk down range while we take some shots, see how these feel. So again, we're gonna start with the 45. Keep an eye on the target since somebody forgot tape. All right, here we go. All right, going to the 40. So would you say that those were better grouping on the 40 than the 45?
Better on the 40.
Okay. Yeah. So interesting, right? So we got a better grouping on the 40 while we were taking a walk there, but when we were when we were shooting it still at the 10 yards, was the 40 down to the left or the 45?
That was the 45.
The 45. Okay. All right. So interesting. We're gonna have to take a look back at the footage just to double check.
Yeah.
But
Double check me.
yeah, we're gonna double check that. But I'm pretty sure. So walking the 45 clearly, because we just did that. Walking the 45 was less accurate for me in particular. 40 we had a better grouping, but when we were standing, looks like we were seeing similar results. Unless we checked the playback and we're totally wrong. Because it's hot outside. It's messing with my head. I looked back at the footage and I'm pretty sure we were low with the 40 and more on target with the 45. But when we were walking, I think we swapped that. We were more accurate with the 40 and then less accurate with the 45. So it could have just been warming up. The 40 to me feels a lot better. I think the 40 feels great, and it's partially the firearm itself. I think that the ergonomics on the firearm just feel more comfortable for me. And then the 45, it just feels a little bit more blocky. Again, it was my very first handgun, so I've had that for quite a long time. And as you guys can see, neither of them have an optic cut. They are both iron sights only. So we are focused on that iron sight. We're gonna load these things back up. We are gonna take some rapid fire shots just to see accuracy on some quick shooting, and then we will go from there. So we're gonna start with the 45, see how this one feels. I'm gonna take you guys up there. It's a little wild. That was terrible, by the way, terrible. 40. Rapid fire, these were not good. But I don't shoot 40 and 45 too often, so I'm gonna blame it on that for now. What do we have? So we had the 40 was down low left.
Yeah. So these were 45.
45 down low left.
Was down low, and then this was the 40.
Okay, so again, we were more accurate with the 40 than the 45 is what we're seeing here. Neither of those are very tight groupings at all. But we're gonna have AK take a couple shots here, rapid fire, and see if we see a difference from the person handling the firearm.
Mine's stacked back.
Your grip is different.
That's what it is.
Stay by the barrel. I think he was trying to get some close shots, trying to cheat.
It's gotta be 8 yards. See? Better.
Yeah. So the 40 you're better with as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we agree that the 40 is hitting more accurately.
More control.
So we should throw this 45 out of here.
Throw it out. You don't need it.
We've got the A zone up top, sitting pretty, nothing in it.
Nothing even touched.
Nothing touched it. All right. You threw one up a little bit down there, and what some target shows like the B zone. So we'll remember that one. We've got 3 rounds in the 40 and the 45. We're gonna take our time, full accuracy, and see what we got. So we're gonna start with the 45. All right, I'm gonna take you guys up there. But before we do that, we've got one dead center.
One dead center.
Threw one to the left, and then one close to where you had it. All right, so we're gonna remember that this time. VP40. Okay, let's take a look at them. This was 45, 45, and 45. And then the 40, we hit here, and then...
I think there was another over here.
Yeah, I think we threw that. So how about this? Let's throw 3 down with the 9. See how that is. Those were all. That's 9 for you. That's 9. That's 9. All right, come on, let me take you guys down there.
That's all dead center.
But I don't shoot 40 and 45 too often, so I'm gonna blame it on that for now. Okay. Yeah. All right, so we'll in post take a look at these here, and here, all right there with the 9. I know we're not looking at 9 today, we're looking at 40 and 45, but I think that's why I like 9 better anyways. Well, I think the other thing too is like when I first bought my first couple guns, I thought 40 was like the way to go because it was like the nice sweet spot between 45 and 9. Yeah. And I used to think 9 was just like a baby round.
Baby gun.
And then 45 was like, oh, that one's gonna hit. But then I was also like, it's like really, so it's a large round to carry around. And like you take something like this and try to conceal that. So I was like, oh, 40, 40, 40. But now I have like a ton of 9. And the technology in 9 is just advanced so much. 40 used to be, I think the 40 used to be the FBI's favorite round. And they're transitioning back to the 9. And we're gonna take 2 shots, move up to 10 yards, take 3 shots. We're gonna take it a little easy. If my wife's watching this, I edited me running in post. I wasn't actually running, promise. So now that we're shooting these, I'm feeling the 45 is definitely kicking more. It's definitely kicking more. All right, so which one of these wins? Personally, I think it comes down to preference. So with the 40 and the 45, taking a look at the 45 here, okay, this one's gonna be moving a lot slower down range, but it's gonna give you some really good stopping power. 40, in theory, is moving with a lot more velocity and is more comfortable, but again, it's gonna come down to preference. I think the other thing to consider is in most cases, what you're gonna see is you're actually going to see that you're getting more rounds with the 40 because it's a smaller diameter bullet than the 45. However, in this case, both these magazines have 13, so that argument's really out the window. in this particular case. Same thing as you step down from 45 to 40 to 9, right? You should be able to hold more capacity because those bullets are smaller in diameter. Again, in this particular case, we have two 13-round magazines. If we take a look here, 9mm, right? We've got 15 rounds in this one, and these magazines, as we take a look at them, are all about the same size, and this 9 is actually thinner than these two, so something to consider. Personal preference, I say that I like the 40 better. I think the 40 is definitely more accurate for me. I threw some shots there. We had some struggles out there today, but if I had to choose one, I would choose the 40, and I'll throw out the 45. I think that the 40 is more my style. If I had to choose two, I would choose the 40 and the 9. No, we're not talking about the 9 today, but it is out here, and the 45 is probably not my go-to in any situation. So, all right, guys, thanks for tuning in today. We took a look at the 40. We took a look at the 45. We collected some thoughts. I put my thoughts down on the video of what I think, but let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Do you like the 40 or do you like the 45, or do you not even mess with either of them? Either way, let me know. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I want to see you guys keep coming back so you guys can keep throwing your ideas down in the comments. Let me know what you guys want to see next. Until then, stay safe and shoot straight.